Travis Wayne Goodsell. There's really no church news today. There's a couple of insignificant stuff, nothing by prophets, other than 10 times they quoted from a Christmas carol at the pulpit of conference. And so I noticed that at 1 o'clock, the Bednar video took off. We got a breakout video in action now. So to pick up that fire that has started, I didn't start the fire. We'll do a comment reply video here. And I hopefully get to the Jasmine comment about how she says she's hot. So I'll start with comment cleaning. Make any necessary replies. Mark on the brand new one I just did. Joseph Smith, American Second Civil War, Latter-day Prophecy. Boo! You didn't comment about me saying Jasmine is hot. That's because you didn't say Jasmine was hot. You said Exmo Lex was hot and that I should leave her alone. And I replied to you, to that comment. I didn't criticize Exmo Lex. I was just going over her channel to see what she had to talk about. So relax. Is there no woman in your life either, Mark? Are you all by yourself, too? On forensic investigation proves Book of Mormon true. Jenny Castro is having hurt feelings. She wanted to hear a certain message and I didn't give it to her, and so she's upset with me and she's victim blaming me for why I didn't conform and comply to her thoughts and feelings on a video that she wanted me to present for her. And so she's gonna be banned. Because it's stupid. I've gotten a gabillion of these kinds of comments from Mormons and even ex-Mormons, all expecting me to say a certain thing, and then they watch the video and I don't say what they wanted me to say and they're upset and they blame me. God, get a life, guys. And so she says, "You are not funny, dude." Oh, really? Is this a comedy routine that I'm doing? Oops. She's wanting me to do a comedy routine, I guess. Dear God, I'm trying to listen to you, but you're not trying to listen to me. You don't like my message. You came here under a certain interpretation that you expected to hear, and you didn't hear it, and you were upset, and your feelings were hurt, and you left. And you're blaming me with a hate comment. Your sarcasm and condescending attitude never lets me go too far. I'm not trying to criticize the message. Get the hell off my channel. Go to hell, Jenny Castro. Mark again. Oh, there's all by myself. How to know for yourself the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is false. Travis, I'm going to make a sculpture of your face, and I'm going to worship the sculpture as you are my idol, all by myself. Okay. Creepy. Cuckoo. Here's a Jasmine one. We should probably do that one last because that's the most recent. She's talking about the bikini one she finally got to. So, Dorothy Pitts. 2024, Book of Mormon, Come Follow Me, Prophecy Lessons 1, Introduction. Okay? It's prophecy lessons. I explain my credentials to do this retelling of what the church is covering up and hiding from Mormons. I make that very clear if you listen to the video. She says, why are you pretending? I'm not pretending. I'm outright and straightforward with you guys. To be part of Come Follow Me. And she does not understand because she didn't... I may have talked about it. Being a part of the footnote committee for the revision for the Spanish-speaking editions with Guide to the Scriptures. And so that is the committee that would do these manuals. It is that what was the priesthood curriculum. And I think it's now just the priesthood committee, last I heard anyway, in 2014. It's just regular Mormons who make these manuals. And they're not as smart as I am. And I say that in all humility. I studied Mormonism. I studied the scriptures. I know the material better than everybody in the world, it turns out. As I am the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East because I studied. And you get people with hate comments calling me a narcissist and you know, denying that I am when they themselves have never studied to even know the material that I talk about. And yet, for some reason, they're an expert on how I'm not the expert. People are just haters. They do not understand the doctrine. They do not understand the scriptures. We got Bill of Rights Danger. We'll do his older one first. Dear God, long one. It's from my Replacing the Jewish Christ of the Bible and Book of Mormon with Christian Jesus. He had to edit this one too. He says, I've studied too. Really? How? Use science? Socratic method logic? Or did you just read, ponder, and pray? And agree with your Brigham Heber view of Joseph's murder. I don't care if you agree with me or not. Mine is factual. That's what pissed me off about my mom, is when I'm trying to tell her factual things, she was so, yeah, I agree with that. I don't care if you agree with it, Mom. Saddam Hussein did not cause 9/11. No, yes he did. Dear God. One thing though, yeah. Here's the but. Sydney Restoration Company. What is this? Sydney Restoration Co. Prophecy Setting Up Theocracy Government with Possessees to Enforce United Order took from Jesus Gospel of Grace. What the bleep are you talking about? Get off your cell phone, get on a computer with a keyboard. Part 2, the Missouri War and Violence Illinois did not want in Nauvoo. Illinois was governed by Freemasons. Oh, dear God, you did not study at all. You lied to me. And now you're whatever splaining as a drunk on your cell phone. Dear God. You don't come onto my channel and tell me I'm wrong and then give me this gibberish. My guess is, wow, yeah, is that how you study? Freemason leaders made Joseph an offer he could not refuse. And you're lumping them all together. You have no clue about Freemasonry. You didn't study. So since his dad and brother was one, he took their oaths, but so did Brigham and... Oh, dear God, you have no clue. You're not putting things in the proper time order, and the events, and there's... Oh, dear God, you did not know how to study. This is just embarrassing for you, dude. No wonder you're hiding your name behind some other title. Joseph had agreed to death after Joseph rewrote Temple Endowment? Oh my God. That wasn't Joseph. That was Brigham. You did not study. All is being revealed except the Joseph Smith papers lacked the attorney-client correspondence between leaders and lawyers at the time. Oh my hell. Kids, don't do drugs. Freemason correspondence and records are missing. And then on exposing Danite secret combinations within current church, suggest Joss Smith, sale of land to Emma, pay attention to recording date of sale after Joseph Smith's death, as I recall. Oh, as you recall? No, I looked. It's that very day of the attack. Dear God. And so, yeah, you're gone. Dear God. Jasmine, you need to save me here. Tell me how hot you are. And so, Knights of the Lost first. Trial by fire of Mormons leaving the church. So where is your proof that these biblical people aren't real people? Oh my God. It's not on me to prove it. The burden of proof is not on me. The burden of proof is on the first people to make the claim that they're real. And that was Roman Emperor Constantine at the Council of Nicaea with the Nicene Creed. They made the claim. They have to prove it. And they can't, because they put in the Nicene Creed, they're not real. In Greek, Constantine created a new word, calling not real homuzion. Go to hell. Okay, Jasmine, save me here. Alright, so, on her wanting an action figure of me comment from Forensic Investigation Proves, and talking about her video about James's friends who are all white girls, and that Jasmine's not jealous, not at all, but the pink video was ready for me. And then asked about Hippo in 393 and Carthage in 397, and so I linked her to the books and mentioned in my video about this of the Wikipedia pages on the Hippo and other councils that were involved in that time period, going over the extensions from that abominable creed of Constantine. And so then she did another comment on that comment 5 hours ago. She says, James is going to get me the MP3 CDs. Which are they? MP3 is digital. CDs are solid discs. And we hope some of that money goes to me? What money? What are you talking about? I'm missing something here. What are you paying me for? What did I do? Alrighty. Let's clear the board here. Oh, Mark threw in another one. On the same video, Joseph Smith, American Second Civil War. Dude, calm down. Go find a girlfriend. I'm not repeating this. Alrighty. So 18 hours ago first. And so the how hot she is going to be last. LDS Apostle Bednar, the one that's taken off. She says, "Hey Travis, no accessories? Really? Boo." Can I at least give you a flaming sword for your action figure? I hope you like your pink video with its intro. Yeah, I preferred the video, not my voice at the beginning. You see, with pictures with women and videos with women, it always frustrates me when they include a guy in there. Get him out of the picture. I don't want him in there. I want you, girls. And so she says she had a remix going, but James said that's one of the few songs I just need to let be original because it's a true classic. Did you catch the Mistress for Christmas? Which one was it? I guess we can exit out of that one. Is it the How to Know for Yourself? Or was it the Bednar? Nope, it is. Yeah, it's How to Know for Yourself. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is false. AC/DC, Mistress for Christmas. And they YouTube. God. They just go back and forth taunting me. So, yeah, so far the American Second Civil War is doing off to a good start. Alrighty. I can assure you, Travis, you don't want to analyze my dreams. I can teach you how to analyze your dreams. If you don't want to tell me. They are seriously messed up. No, they're supposed to be. In your dreams, they are symbolic. They are reprocessing what you did for your day in a symbolic fashion. And so you're able to do supernatural things in your dreams. You're encountering things that you normally wouldn't encounter in your life. That is typical. There are occasions where it's difficult to distinguish between the dream world and real life. But that's what your dreams are doing on purpose. But there's always a difference that distinguishes it from as a dream world. And that if you go in aware of that, no issues whatsoever. But prophecy dreams are different, though. And those are unique. And so it's a situation where you have to be conditioned in your life to be aware of your dreams that would then allow prophecy dreams to start testing themselves in you. Though there are those who are given a prophecy dream and they don't know and understand that it's a prophecy dream. But yeah, that's the mind, and it's different for each and every single individual. But you have these wannabe psychologists who are astrologer type people, mystics, who use psychology techniques to scam you. And they're the ones who are writing all the dream interpretation books. And because of the psychology usage, they are trying to tell you how to live your life so that then your dreams will then be in accordance with their interpretation of the dream symbols, and that leads you in the wrong direction, screws you up, and you end up giving them money when you shouldn't, and they mess up your life. And so if you live independently of that and allow yourself to know your life and how you interpret the world, then you can use the lessons that I would provide to interpret your own dreams in your understanding. And so your interpretations will not be the same as James, and it will not be the same as anybody else in the world, because your experiences are new and unique. And that's the complexity, but the advantage of living in today's society with so many different lives that we can pursue. You know, back in the ancient world, it was pretty much the same thing for everybody. You had to survive, and so there was, you know, work to make food, clothing, shelter, and everybody was involved in that same type of thing in order to survive. And so there was a communal shared knowledge that was all the same. Whereas today, you can be anything you want and pursue any kind of education you want. And so everybody's life is different. And so no one dream interpretation will fit everybody's interpretation. So, yeah, that's a summation of dream interpretation for you. So learning the basics of how it works is how that will help you. And so I messed up? No, I don't worry about being messed up. That's symbolic. You shouldn't take it literally. And so don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. That's just the way things are. I am a blonde. We've already dealt with this. That was your mom's generation, not yours. So there will be errors in my DNC project. I am already up to DNC 4 now. Okay. I knew you would find those pictures funny. So my question about those other councils was about wanting to know if they were the ones that put the books in the Bible the way they are. Yeah, well, partly, yeah. They had to then say, okay, well, which ones conform to the Nicene Council? And so there was a bunch of them that got excluded as a result. And then there were some that were to be excluded. And then there was the Arian leader, Marcion, I think, who redid the Luke version. And obviously that one was rejected, but Luke was put in. And you can see the differences in the way they treat the Christ character. Matthew tries to conform to the Jewish law, trying to appeal to Jewish audiences. And so he quotes from Isaiah about the name being Emmanuel and the prophecies from all of the prophets. He tries to put into his account and thus create a new narrative by putting in all of the different prophecies. But you see, Luke refers to him as the Egyptian deity, the son of the highest sun, the sun god at noonday, rather than calling him Emmanuel in that particular case either. And so he doesn't reference Isaiah as Matthew does, but he does call him Emmanuel by calling him the son of the highest. And then you have John, which goes into a different path altogether and refers to him as the Word, and that confused later interpreters of that book into thinking that there was no Jesus. Jesus is contained within the Word, and that by reading the Word you get the Spirit of the Word and thus the Spirit of Christ in you. That was rejected by Constantine, but when you don't use knowledge, you come up with all sorts of whacked out thinking processes. But yeah, those two books I recommended, which apparently you can get them before Christmas if you got the money for them, they go over the whole historical timeline of when things changed in the Holy Roman Empire, going clear into the Middle Ages, I think, even into, I think, the Reformation was the second volume. And so those are excellent books. Justo Gonzalez, I think his name was. And so, yes, he does include the texts of each of the councils, creeds in there as well. They don't have them, he doesn't have them in Greek, though, or Latin, or whichever languages they were in. That one you'd have to go to the Wikipedia page for. So, I have read that J.S. Sr. had the German Bible with the apocryphal books in it, which was far more superior to the King James Version. Was I misinformed? They had a family Bible of the King James Version. Joseph didn't get St. Jr. didn't get a German Bible until Niebuhr joined the church. Niebuhr was a German who also knew Hebrew and continued Joseph's Hebrew lessons, as well as was teaching him German as well. But Joseph Smith in 1835 records that he had sent others to obtain Hebrew and Greek versions of the Bible, along with grammars, and was hoping to learn the languages as they tried to get one guy to come and teach him and some other other Mormons Hebrew, but he bailed on them. He ghosted them. And so then they were able to get Rabbi Sykes, who was the foremost rabbi in America at the time, who had recently, in that day, published a new grammar for learning Hebrew. And it's available in a PDF online. And that's where Joseph Smith used that information in the Hebrew words in the Book of Abraham explanations. Rakiang is the dead giveaway. It's actually Rakia according to the biblical Hebrew text, but Rabbi Sykes was the one who calls it Rakiang, and so we know the connection with Joseph Smith that way. And so we do know that they did have the Apocrypha, because Joseph Smith does a whole Doctrine and Covenants section on it. Is it section 91? I saw a Mormon give an excuse as to why we don't have the Apocrypha, and it's kind of lame and wrong. Yeah, section 91. I'm going to read it. Verily thus saith the Lord unto you concerning the Apocrypha. There are many things contained therein that are true. So we should have it. There are many things contained therein that are true. But this other guy was saying that there are a lot of errors in there, and therefore we can't have it. And he says, and it is mostly translated correctly. So the Apocrypha has many things that are true, and it's translated correctly for the most part. Why don't we have it? Because Mormons are making excuses now as to why we don't have it. Rather than just, well, the church isn't the right church, that's why we don't have it. That's an option that Mormons will not consider. And so, yes, we do need the Apocrypha. My favorite story is the bell in the addition of the Apocrypha to Daniel. It's awesome. And too many people make the error of calling it Bel and the Dragon. It's not Bel and the Dragon. Those are two separate stories. It's Bel, and then there's another story, the Dragon. I like Bel, even though I saw it for Dragon. But after reading both of them, I go, oh, I like Bel. That was a fun one. It has to do about idol worshiping and exposing it. And so there are many things contained therein that are not true. And that's what they focused on. Rather than there are many things contained therein that are true. Which are interpolations by the hand of men. And verily I say unto you, that it is not needful that the Apocrypha should be translated. He didn't say that not be used in our text for scriptures. He said translated. God. Therefore, whoso readeth it, which means we'd have to have it. Let him understand, for the Spirit manifesteth truth. And whoso is enlightened by the Spirit shall obtain benefit therefrom. And whoso receiveth not the Spirit cannot be benefited. Therefore it is not needful that it should be translated. We need the Apocrypha. But the church refuses. And they're purposely going against Joseph Smith's prophecies that we're going to have more scripture. They don't even claim to be translators. So, it's just one of those blatantly obvious witnesses that this church is false. As I mentioned in that video this morning. And so, yes, they did have the Apocrypha. The 1769 King James Version of the Bible, however, did not have the Apocrypha. And so it was a separate book that they had along with the King James Version of the Bible, which was their family Bible. And so that's why Joseph Smith is able to refer to it, is that they had both those books. And because he's a Jewish Kabbalist, he had Jewish Kabbalistic stuff too. Thus, the Holiness to the Lord parchment that critics think is magic witchcraft. Dumbasses. And so, yeah, you were kind of misinformed somewhat. The German Bible, Joseph Smith refers to in the King Follett Discourse on April 6th, 1844, before he died. And that would have been a result of Niebuhr. I almost called him Phil Niebuhr. He's my cousin-in-law. He and his wife, Kathy, my actual cousin from the Bowens, run the hot springs in Idaho, right there by the Wyoming border. And so that's why I'm familiar with elder brother Niebuhr. I don't remember his first name. And so that's when Joseph Smith was getting taught German at that point, was because of his joining the church. And so I don't know anything about Senior having a German Bible. But yeah, they would have had to have had an apocryphal book in order for Joseph to talk about the Apocrypha, saying that it is partially correct, it is partially incorrect, there's no need to translate it, and those who read it can be enlightened by it. I understand why Mormons would be afraid to leave the church. Yeah, because they're threatened by the prophets. They're extorted. And they're bullied. You know, you want to leave the church and you're told you have to fill out a paper and go see your bishop for an interview. That is just sick and wrong. As I have learned, you don't really need a church or book to worship God. Well, not according to Mark. He's going to make a statue of me. And you want an action figure with accessories. But no, that belief system emerged with the Gospel of Thomas that was found. It was one of the other Gospels that got rejected, and then they found out about it. And it's the part in there where I look under a rock and you'll find me, look in a bush and you'll see me. I am not made of wood or stone. And so everybody says organized religion. Jesus was preaching against organized religion. But Jesus, if you read, was always teaching to a congregation. That is what became known as a church. It's a congregation of worshipers. And so the books, yeah, you kind of need a book. It's essential. And the Book of Mormon explains the essential need for correct historical information, let alone doctrinal and religious information for the rituals. And so it's Christianity that has screwed this concept up. But it began first with the destruction of the Jewish temple, as the Jews no longer had a temple to worship in anymore. And so then they had to figure out, well, what do we do now that we don't have a temple? How do we obey our scriptures without a temple to worship in? And so thus the emergence of more into the scriptures that were written during the Roman period time of the prophecy of the future Christ. And so the Jews have been doing what they can for traditional sake, looking forward for the Jewish Christ in the latter days. But because of Constantine screwed them up on even the scriptures that they have, as they too believe that they are literal history, with actual characters from the past, not knowing that they are symbol characters for their future Messiah, to help them know who he is. Because reading from Rambam, Maimonides, however it's pronounced, he's the most, he's considered the most knowledgeable rabbi that the Jews have ever had. And he has no clue of who to look for the latter days. and he's considered the foremost expert on who to look for. And he doesn't know. And so, yeah, he's also the one who screwed it up with the dates, saying that Adam and Eve came in 3,570, something like that. Dear God. No. And so that's what happens when you go into darkness with Constantine's denialism of science, denialism of Socratic method logic, is people just descend into darkness and they become hateful. They think they're an expert on what things aren't and are weaponized to make comments of hate and violence as a result of it. But that's what's going to happen for the millennial reign of peace and enlightenment, is dark ages if the church wins. Mormons will be put in bondage, far worse than they are now, and everybody will be forced to listen to the prophets like in 1984. And it will be a time of sorrow and doom and gloom and distress and fear and terror. It will not be peace, safety, and refuge. Except for the prophets, who will put up guards to make sure that their lives are peaceful, safe, and a refuge from Mormons who want to murder them for putting them in bondage. It's all right there in the Book of Mormon. Mosiah 29, warning about King Noah. What I don't understand is the prophecies from the Book of Mormon. I just got started on the videos. Wait! And the Bible are what we need to know. Why would it matter if some of the stories are not literal histories? All of them aren't literal history. The prophecies are about the latter days, and they are warnings of the danger. There are protagonists and there are antagonists. The antagonists want to destroy mankind and subject them to slavery. The protagonist wants to save the people, but they have to listen to him, and they don't want to listen to him. They want to be put in slavery. They want to have their agency taken from them. Mormons. And so that's all it is. And so that's the sad reality, is that Joseph Smith had realized that it's for his organization. He's the Holy Grail. The Bible is about the future Mormons. And that is still weird to me, that it's not about any other human being on earth. And they are prophesied to kill each other off. And Mormons who listen to their actual Christ are going to go to Zion and build a civilization that will be the only safe place on earth, because everybody else is trying to murder each other, just like Coriantumr and Shiz at the end of the Jaredite story. And so, yeah, it's a big deal, and even Mormons don't take it seriously enough. They're still under condemnation for not studying the Book of Mormon. Even when Benson said they were under condemnation, we were under condemnation still, but he was deceiving us as to Jesus being real, because that's what he was trying to do. James is going verse by verse through 3 different Book of Mormons. Good. I guess you guys don't have a Word program for a laptop computer or something like that, so that you can put the 3 columns on a single page, just as a suggestion. And then send that to me when you do it. That's one of the projects that I want to have done too. he is actually getting excited, which is rare. Really? Is James a somber person? Is he a shy guy? This was interesting. But I do see BYU in the link. James E. Talmage. Doctrine Godhead. Brian W. Ricks. God. I'll just download it as a PDF. There we go. 26 pages. And the black and white version of the first vision that had been in the church for a long time. And so you just thought that this was interesting, huh? Okay. Get rid of his. It's just him talking about James E. Talmage. And so I want James E. Talmage's original book, but I guess you can't really, because he's not referring to any particular one book. He's just doing a report on James E. Talmage. But he's trying to claim Joseph Smith here and not James E. Talmage. Because I see here, in discussing the theological education of Joseph Smith, one cannot ignore the vital role of the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. I'm sorry, Jasmine, it's not interesting to me. I know too much. I know better than Brian Ricks. I know more than James E. Talmage. It's not interesting to me. They have no clue what the Joseph Smith translation is. And I understand you're new, you're learning. It's just... Mormons think they're smart, and they're not. Okay. For the AI Sports Illustrated scandal sold to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. New 2024 Millennial Calendar. On sale now. And so in case you weren't paying attention to the news, Sports Illustrated had a couple of articles that came out not too long ago in which they used AI to generate the articles rather than actual people who work for Sports Illustrated, and they got caught and they got busted pulling off a con on people, on their subscribers. And so I merged it with the news that was going on with the church. And so Jasmine is now commenting on that video, because the church would never do a swimsuit calendar 2024. They won't even do merchandise for the prophets. Mormons are very frustrated. They want merchandise. There were Mormons who would come up with Book of Mormon toys, but because of Jesus idol, the church had them shut down. And so little kids can't grow up with little Jesus and Nephi and Moroni characters, because then you'd have to have Korihor. And little Mormon kids, oh, you are evil. You need to pay your tithing. That outfit is inappropriate. You need to go see your bishop. Don't do that with my action figure. Oh my And so, yeah, it brings back memories of when I was a kid. We go to the church, they have the sacrament, and I'm being groomed that one day I'll be a deacon and pass the sacrament, just like the older boys. And so when we're at home and we get bread for dinner, and it was Wonder Bread, my mom was experimenting with a new Wonder Bread that came out. And so I'm sitting at the table pretending I'm a deacon, practicing for when I become a priest. Because priests are the ones who bless and break the bread. And so, yeah, my mom scolded me for doing that. Quit playing with your food, and it's sacrilegious to... Now, if you're not going to want to teach your kids... And so, Jasmine says, "Hey Travis, O-M-G! Exclamation point. I just watched the empowerment video of SI swimwear swimsuit models at BYU. Really? Why didn't you link me to it? I want to know." I have also watched a couple of podcasts talking about it. Is there an empowerment video of SI swimsuit models at BYU? I want to know, Jasmine. Why didn't you link me to it? Is it on YouTube? AI swimsuit models at BYU. Synos AI. I'm liking that one. Bikini AI Lab. Don't like that one. That's just pictures. AI swimsuit models. AI great art. You have to be signed in order to watch it to prove you're of legal age. Short that will not play. Amazing AI. I'm not seeing it here. The Game Illustrated. Women in golf. Gotta love it. Those are guys. It's sort of Playboy, but they're using AI and PI to mask it. And it's pictures. AI bikini model. No, it doesn't look like BYU has anything. Here's satisfying pictures and more pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures. Come on, we have deep fakes. You guys can do videos too. God, it's all pictures, slideshows, like Jasmine's. But yeah, this is the only one that has an actual... She's wiggling and jiggling. Synos AI, huh? And it's all shorts. Wow. Those are AI, huh? I approve. I can't find the BYU one. What are you talking about? And so apparently there's also podcasts talking about it. If any of you Mormons are reading this, here's my take on this. Nobody's watching that video anymore. YouTube has shut it down. I am a woman. Yes, to a lot of people, I am considered attractive, and that's fine. I told you. We were going to get to it at the end of the hour. No modesty here. I don't recall any of those pictures. Because that's how I was born. I have worked to be that way. Yes, I've been a paid model who has had to wear swimsuits and lingerie. Oh, you had to? But that doesn't make me some kind of slut. Yeah, well, that's Mormon for you. If you want to join the church, you can no longer wear lingerie and bikinis and swimsuits because you got to wear your magic underwear all the time. You all get mad if a woman uses her looks to make money. And yeah, there are teachers quitting to go on OnlyFans. Gives hot for teacher a whole new meaning. And get mad if a man uses his well-built body to run touchdowns, but don't get mad. They don't get mad. Women don't get mad when a man takes off his shirt and is in bikini briefs all rippled and muscled from steroids. And they know that what steroids mean. It means they don't have big feet. And they're shooting blanks. Making use of your God-given gifts is something, I thought it was goddess-given, is something that God should judge you on. Travis here has a gift of action figures. Please tell me it is not anatomically correct. Of knowing prophecy and understanding of his religion and the world. It is a gift given to him that he uses not to make money but to help. It's 2023, Mormons. The 1960s Protestant conservative way of dressing is gone. Oh, no. They go way back to Brigham Young. I understand the quote, sexual overtones of swimsuits. Yeah, no, that's the sad reality, is there are two scientifically designated sexes for humans, because humans, in order to perpetuate the species, have to have these two and only two sexual identifications, males and females. Males have seed, females have egg. And the seed goes into the egg to produce babies. And so, if you are female, you are the sexual identity of female. And thus you are sexy. But because of religion demonizing our human bodies and denying science, you then get the porn industry who comes along and says, great, we just made ourselves multi-billions of dollars. Thank you, religion. And so you get all of these misdefined words that are being perpetuated in our culture. And so sexy is now something that is inappropriate. And everybody has forgotten the original meaning. It simply means she's a female. Whoop-de-doo. And so there is no such thing as sexual overtones. If it involves a male or a female, it's sexual. And so, but it's not porn. Yeah, they're not prostitutes like the Greeks had, but I have done that video multiple times over the years. The temple sex video that I mentioned earlier, I would get into that as well, but yeah, there's too many errors made by religion because of Constantine, and it's screwing everybody up and making everybody weapons against each other, and now our nation's destroyed and we're all going to burn in hell. It's a means of dressing, just like your sacred underwear. No, magic underwear, Jasmine. It has magical powers. Not every swimsuit model is out having sex because they're wearing a swimsuit. Oh, not if you hear a Mormon mother tell her daughter sex ed. Seriously, oh my God. Literally, Mormon girls are being told, don't go to the pool or a beach in your swimsuit. You'll get pregnant. And I'm just listening to these girls tell me this, and I'm just going, oh man. It is just, what the church is doing to Mormons is just abominable. And it's just so wrong. And they won't leave. And they just keep taking the abuse. And they just want to just have their feelings altered with drugs that are given to them by family services, psychologists, psychiatrists, technically. Ah, hell. It just makes me cry. But that's why I did the Mormon temple porn book that I put in the pictures and one video I did recently. Is because those dresses are perfectly modest and fine, and yet they're not approved to go into the temple. They are rejected. They have a woman who's there at the entrance for any woman who's going to be getting married that day, and she has to examine the dress if she has a wedding dress, because you don't have to have a wedding dress in the Mormon church for the temple. You can just wear the regular temple dress for your wedding if that's what you want. But many women have the dream of having a dress for their wedding, and so they do. And then they're supposed to be notified in advance by the temple of the requirements for the temple dress, so that they aren't embarrassed and disappointed when it's rejected. So, but it's just so sick and wrong. When you start off with a wrong seed, it just keeps growing into a greater and greater abomination, and lives are destroyed, and it's just sad. And so now she's talking about porn stars. Jasmine's an expert on porn. Most porn stars don't wear anything. Really? Teach me more about this, Jasmine. Teach me more about porn. I want to know more. Link me to some sites where I can learn. That's the whole thing. In the Constitution, the First Amendment has been established as not only being the freedom of speech, but freedom of expression. And so the Supreme Court ruling, Miller versus California, I think it is, the judge had established 3 criteria, and all 3 have to be met. If one doesn't measure up to it, then you can't consider the whole. And so YouTube has this community guidelines crap. That's only number 1. That's not enough. YouTube has to also include the other 2, and they won't do it. And the third one is what nullifies every argument of immodest, obscene content, is because if it's educational, aesthetic, and scientific, it does not qualify as porn. And every single image and video are art, educational, and scientific. Because that's our human biological process. But religion has stepped in and said no, and screwed everything up. The Egyptian language has the human body in it to teach little kids about their human body. They are taught sex ed before puberty. And so it's just abominable how we've fallen into the dark ages of Constantine. Because he's the one who did it. And so yes, none of these porn sites should be blocked or hindered or attacked by Christians to have viruses on them if you dare look at them, or the church wanting to create a blacklist so that they can compromise you in their millennium next year. It's sad. And I see girls' lives ruined by YouTube, and they don't understand why. They don't have the moral standards and values of Mormons. And yet everybody's getting judged by high, impossible, unreal standards and values of religion through YouTube. And yet YouTube will allow white supremacist hate speech, but ban a girl simply because she's modeling an outfit that YouTube finds objectionable. That is so sick and wrong. I think it's rather 21st century of BYU to do this for the women there. So there's something going on at BYU that I don't know about. I've not seen it in the news. Weird. You'll have to link me to it, Jasmine. Being a model is empowering, just like being an athlete is empowering, or being a bishop is empowering. You're a bully as a bishop. You're the enforcer. You're the one who breaks the kneecaps of Mormons who don't obey. I don't think God has a problem with anyone appreciating the beauty of something he had two people create. So why should you? Well, that's the whole point, is that everybody takes out the book of Genesis. They were naked and not ashamed. And who told them to be ashamed? Lucifer. Mormons know this. They know it indeed. So are you going to get a red-headed action figure girl doll to finally give me a girlfriend? I'm okay with that. Reenact our romances. We picked up 2 more. We're at 1 hour and 8 minutes. Roger Thornton, forensic investigation proves Book of Mormon true. Your entire premise seems to be based on one single fact. 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. That M.H. Martin Harris wrote the book. No, he didn't. Martin Harris didn't have nothing to do with it. He was used for the money. And that J.D. Sr., I think that's a typing error. You probably meant to put Joseph Smith Sr. wrote the first pages. Now, you weren't listening at all to what I said. Sidney Rigdon is the major author of the book, not Martin Harris. Joseph Smith Sr. wrote the 116 pages. That is an established fact by science. God, what a dumbass. I see no evidence of this. Yet you don't see it, you have to research it. Including the pages themselves. In fact, I have seen a good bit of data to the contrary. No, you haven't. You've heard lies by the Mormon apologists. Linguistics show, you lie. That even you stayed, and even you stayed, that there are over 30 distinct separate authors. Okay, so you're not a Mormon. No wonder you put Martin Harris and J.D. No, you were not listening. Linguistic pattern is of my speech. I speak different than you, obviously. Reading over your comment is not how I speak or how I write. That is a different, distinctive linguistic pattern that Roger is using. Jasmine uses a distinctive pattern from the two of us. And so I can identify the difference between a Jasmine comment versus a Roger comment. That is the scientific linguistic process. This is how they were able to identify Sidney Rigdon. But Sidney Rigdon wasn't making it all up off the top of his head. He was using books from his library, and we have found over 3 dozen different contemporary books used in the Book of Mormon. Those have their distinctive linguistic print that is imposed with Sidney Rigdon's linguistic fingerprint as well. This is a scientific process, you dumbass. Dear God. I should have stopped with Jasmine. You are welcome to your own opinion. See, you've just denied science, you dumbass. This is not my opinion. These are facts. You are basing your opinion. And so you're misusing the whole scientific realm. You're redefining it so that you can destroy it and give opinion a dominance in the field and replace it all and thus screw up everything so that nobody will know the truth because, well, science has been destroyed. That's what Christians are trying to do to the public school system. But basing your entire conspiracy theory, you even misdefined conspiracy theory, on fake facts you're denying now, leads to a very non-existent foundation. And you just pulled a beam and a mote. Your opinion of denialism has no foundation. Dumbass elite. It should be flagged, YouTube. See, YouTube will allow those, but a woman, ban her! And so Jasmine had just barely gotten to my Joseph Smith American Second Civil War Latter-day Prophecy. Hey Travis, I am not hot. Oh, you just said you were. I gotcha. You said you were hot. I am pretty sure you know way more prettier women than me. Well, I really haven't seen you. The only actual picture I've seen of you were the 3 facial portraits that you sent me, sort of wearing pink, which you were going to give me more because James was going to do a photo shoot of you. And then the one video, which I took a snapshot of and have used in a couple of my videos, and probably should use here in this one. I just got to figure out the thumbnail for this video. And so again, it's your face. I had to brighten up the picture because you guys were in a dark setting that darkened you guys up for the camera. And so I had to brighten it up. And so that's about as much as I got. You know, I don't know, maybe you're 300 pounds. Not that that's ugly. There are lots of guys who are into that, I guess. But yeah, beauty is subjective. Art is subjective. And that's why if it's artistic, it can't be considered obscene. In the ruling that the Supreme Court Justice ruled on, is that art has to be left alone. It's up to interpretation. It's up to an opinion. There are people who will find it beautiful. There are people who will find it ugly and debasing. But they cannot enforce their opinion to be imposed on other people. And that's what the ruling was trying to designate, is that Christians cannot use their Christian moral standards and values, and thus the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to impose on the rest of the world, or the rest of the nation, or the rest of the state. And yet that's exactly what the church is doing to the state of Utah. They're trying to get what they find offensive to be banned by those who are not Mormon and don't want to be Mormon. And they can't do that. They have to allow everybody their own freedom, their own rights. That's why the Constitution was put in place, is to guarantee everybody their rights and not have one organization or multiple organizations gang up to destroy the rights of other people. We are not a democracy. It is not a majority vote. And so, yeah, James obviously finds you pretty. Or I'm sure it's your intelligence, and you're probably ugly to James too, but but your superior intelligence is what attracted him, right? And so, yeah, I see too many women who are insecure about their looks, which apparently mostly comes from mean girls from grade school. As women have to think, because during the blonde era of the 80s, there were women who were being told by psychologists that they had to be blonde, and they had to have the boob implants, and they had to do the Botox lips, and I'm just seeing that, and I'm just like, oh my God. And you get those talk show guys. The one just died not too long ago this year, where he would try to trick his audience as to whether or not, you know, can you tell that she's had breast implants? Trying to get everybody to accept women to have breast implants. And then women and people are starting to enforce on me that I have to like a person with breast implants. Why? And then the tattooing, or not the tattooing, that was a little later in the 90s after the goth experience. But tanning beds. Blonde girls were being told that they're too white. They're of Scandinavian origin. They're gonna be white. And yet they're being body shamed that they're too white. And so they're all having to go to the tanning beds, and then they find out, oh no, we've got cancer now. And so then you get all these cancer horror stories of how they're now losing their hair, and if it's breast cancer or ovarian cancer, those are, it's emasculating for men. What's the female equivalent of emasculating? And so these women are just devastated that they're losing their breasts, they're losing their ovaries to cancer, and it just makes me cry. The women are just under full attack, and they have always been under attack. And religion has been right there at the forefront to attack women the whole time. And yet women still continue to go to church because the church blames Jesus. And women get fooled, men get fooled, all thinking, well, you know, Jesus, I guess that's the way it is because he's God. And they don't stop and think that Constantine pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. And so, yes, of course you're hot. You're a woman. You were designed to be hot. You were designed for men to be attracted to you and want to... You used that in your email, and I was like, you... Men don't want to rape you. They are heterosexual in that they want to with you. And it's not the same as rape. Rape is a condition where you say no and then they continue to proceed. But undressing you with their eyes is not the same as wanting to rape you. That's a pretty extreme, hardcore, evil guy level, where he wants to purposely put you in bondage and hurt you and have you screaming for help. And that's a twisted guy that needs to be locked up for life. But the majority of the guys that were watching you in your bikinis and lingerie, no, the majority of them, the internet is a better place for this. Because before the internet, guys had to obtain magazines and videos, and then before then, where do we go? We got religion that's clamping down, trying to shame us. But yeah, it's a big issue. But yeah, of course you're hot. Not just your mother who thinks you're hot, or your dad. And so, no, prettier, no, that's again subjective. To be honest with you, I have thousands of women that I find attractive. Literally thousands. But not a single one of them would compare to just having one real woman in my life who likes being with me. She wins out over all of those other women. It's that simple. See, I'm not going to give up women's fashion just because I get involved with one woman. She will need to be a part of that. Because if she doesn't, then what am I going to do? You know, a guy marries a woman thinking that finally he can bypass religion and finally get to have sex. Only to find out that the woman, using religion, denies him sex. And it's extremely frustrating for us men. And that's the ball and chain. And we don't understand why you changed after we married you. We don't understand why you're abusing us now. Sexually abusing us. What happened? Why am I now in a relationship for the rest of eternity where I'm now miserable? And so, yeah, that's all a guy wants. He married you. He likes you. Why are you insecure? I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, just like that other woman commenting. She came to my video expecting to hear something, and she didn't hear it, and so she was mad and put a hate comment. But yeah, I just see too many Mormon women who do the same thing, and that's why I did this earlier in the video, or in the other video this morning, in which there's too many divorced people in this church, too many single Mormons. And that just means that the church isn't doing it right. They are false. The only thing that makes me beautiful, it had to do with your dad's sperm into the egg of your mother, and then you were produced according to the design. That's how. Is people telling me that I am. Oh, no. You need to believe it. Don't let other people tell you how to believe. You need to believe you are beautiful. Do I have to use that theme song in the description below? Jasmine, James is with you because he thinks you're beautiful, right? It's not because you're just smart. He just wants to be with somebody who's smart. He doesn't care how pretty you are or ugly you are. You're smart. So he's with you. And I question why they do that. That's a cultural thing. It's a national cultural thing where girls are born, and as little babies we're always telling them, oh, you're just so cute, oh, you're just so beautiful, and then yeah, beautiful as they grow up. Oh, you're turning into a beautiful young girl, oh, you're a beautiful young woman. And so yeah, that's women are conditioned to believe they're beautiful that way. And if they don't get told they're beautiful all the time, then they start wondering, maybe I'm not beautiful. No, don't do that. And so yeah, whereas guys, they don't get told they're cute and beautiful per se. They're taught how to be sports persons and tough guys and manly and all that stuff growing up. And so there is a different cultural raising of girls versus boys that leads to that. And so girls have to do all sorts of stuff. And there's the one video, the Sexy Getting Ready song, I think is the title of it. Let's deal with Sinos AI later. Sexy Getting Ready song. Rachel does stuff. There's an explicit version, and then there's the not so explicit version. I prefer the explicit version. It is hilarious. She is so sexy. But again, it's that cultural upbringing that we see resulting in her as a woman now. She does all this stuff to try to look her best for her date. And guys don't. And the one guy walks in on her and he's like, oh my God, I'm scarred for life. I need to apologize to the other women in my life. I'm looking at her going, wow, she is so hot. But now she is devastated because of the one guy who's horrified by all the stuff she does to make herself look beautiful. And she's still not finished yet. And yet she's still hot. And this is awesome video. Rachel does stuff, all one word. The Sexy Getting Ready song, explicit. And so it is not a preconceived thought I have myself. I'm not going to do the, you're beautiful. That one's just cringy. The wrong song to use to tell women they're beautiful. We'll sing it in a country song instead.